Hello EFD squad and welcome back to our latest 10 where we're doing the top 10 selling clubs. Now I've wrote this script so it should be an absolute banger. 10. Schalke. Kicking us off is Schalke, one of the two sides from the rural area of Germany to make our list. And while the Miners haven't seen a league triumph for more than 50 years, some of their exports have gone on to win World Cups and European silverware. However, despite producing an incredible calibre of player, they haven't always negotiated the lofty fees of other teams on our list. For example, serial assistant Mesut Ozil was sold for a measly 4.5 million, and the board will no doubt look back on the Manuel Neuer deal with a hint of regret, letting one of the world's finest goalkeepers go for just over 25 million. But despite letting Burnley left-back Sead Kolasinac go to Arsenal for a free in summer 2017, they appear to have learnt their lesson, playing hardball with both Manchester City and Wolfsburg of late, who had to part with 45 million and 38 million for Leroy Sané and Julian Draxler respectively. Oddly enough, Forbes currently values Schalke as the 16th most valuable club in the world, and the club declared themselves debt-free as recently as 2014. So, with no great pressure to sell, it would appear this selling club is one of the few who choose to do so. 9. Celtic. As a big fish in a small, poorly maintained pond, Celtic have always struggled to retain genuine talent. The reason is mainly twofold: the lack of domestic competition and low television revenue. However, the high standards demanded by the 60,000 fans, the achievements of generations gone by, and the frequent runs in the Champions League make the Glasgow Giants the perfect breeding ground for hungry youngsters looking to fast-track their development. Recent graduates include EPL trio Virgil van Dijk, Fraser Forster and Victor Wanyama. The former was bought for £2.7 million from Dutch club Groningen and was later sold to Southampton for £14.1 million. After just 2 seasons at St Mary's, he was the subject of record-breaking bids for his position, ranging from £55 million to £75 million, with Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City and Arsenal all interested. Proud fans will find it hard to admit the current football landscape dictates they will remain a selling club unless an invitation is extended from the EPL. Highly unlikely. Until then, they'll have to sell a Kenny Miller there, recruit a Ki Sung-yong here, produce more Aidan McGeadys, and avoid the Raphael Scheitz. 8. Sevilla. Despite La Liga topping UEFA's coefficient ranking and Spanish clubs faring extremely well in Europe as a collective in recent years, there has only been 2 title winners other than Real Madrid and Barcelona since the turn of the century. This means, in its most primitive form, that clubs like Sevilla receive much less in TV revenue than the big 2. Last year, for example, Barcelona and Madrid made a combined €300 million, while Sevilla earned just over a third of that. As a result, El Grande de Andalucía have to play the market very smartly in order to make up the deficit. Step up Ramon Rodriguez Verdejo, commonly known as Monchi, who, with a vast scouting network across France and Spain, consistently pumped out the gems for Sevilla before leaving for Roma in 2017. Players such as Vitolo, Krychowiak, Dani Alves and Kevin Gamero were all bought in for a paltry £15.5 million and sold for 125. How they'll fare without their old sporting director is yet to be seen. 7. Atalanta. Bergamo club Atalanta are in European competition for the first time since 1991, mostly thanks to the talismanic Papu Gomez, but also because of their ability to spot and produce talent. Franck Kessié, Mattia Caldara and Roberto Gagliardini, their hottest prospects in years, barely completed a season before making way for relatively big sums, with the latter only lasting 14 games before Inter snapped him up. As was the case with Caldara and Gagliardini, Atalanta are profiting thanks to the factory of talent they develop year in, year out at their Zingolnia Academy. The man responsible is Stefano Bonoscoro, who oversaw a complete revamp in operations in 1991. Now they've joined Europe's elite with a squad that's uniquely packed with academy graduates, around 40% to be precise. And more importantly for Italian football, only 43 of the 303 current academy starlets were born on foreign soil, this club isn't just making money, they're moulding the core of their national side. 6. Ajax. Whilst Ajax have a trophy-laden history, the club's status as one of the continent's elite has been in terminal decline. This is reflected in UEFA's current standings, where the Eredivisie now sits behind Ukraine, Turkey and Belgium's domestic leagues. What hasn't changed, however, is the rate the club produces exciting young talent. Recent alumni include superstars Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Luis Suarez, midfield maestros Rafael van der Vaart and Wesley Sneijder, and defensive stalwarts Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld. And while all these players eventually moved on to bigger and better, Ajax were at least allowed to enjoy the fruits of their labour, which hasn't been the case with some of their latest prodigious talents. Take Davinson Sanchez, for example, who forced a £36 million move to Spurs after just one season. In the same summer, the club saw captain Davy Klaassen and promising young centre-back Jairo Weidvold also depart for the riches of the Premier League. Now, with the land grab for talent heating up like never before, they'll do well to retain the likes of Dolberg, De Ligt, Kluivert and Ziyech in the years to come. 5. Dortmund. The year is 2014. Dortmund are 12 months on from reaching the Champions League final. Jurgen Klopp has just lost Mario Götze to fierce rivals Bayern Munich, Shinji Kagawa to Manchester United, and it's become apparent that Lewandowski is moving on to pastures new. Despite this, Klopp is in a philosophical mood, telling the press, "It has always been clear to us that our best players would be leaving at some point," quietly conceding they are not a team who can hold on to their superstars, something that still holds true today. So the question begs, how does the only other side to win a Bundesliga other than Bayern for almost a decade remain competitive? Well, recently, the answer is simple. They aren't. After conceding second place to RB Leipzig in the 16-17 season, parting ways with innovative young coach Thomas Tuchel, and selling their prized asset Ousmane Dembele to Barca, albeit for a profit of £115 million, the club seems to be regressing. This is despite picking up bargain signings such as Julian Weigl, Christian Pulisic and Raf Guerreiro. According to Forbes, BVB are the 11th richest club in the world, but this hasn't stopped them hemorrhaging talents like Mats Hummels and Ilkay Gundogan. Maybe it's time Hans-Joachim Watzke and sporting director Michael Zorc adopted a new tact. 4. Benfica. The Eagles have dominated Portuguese football for the last 4 years, securing 2 doubles during that time while simultaneously playing the transfer market beautifully. In 16-17, they had a net profit of €70 million, but still finished 6 points clear of second place Porto, who had a net spend of €12 million during the same period. Part of Benfica's success is the club's tendency to scout Eastern Europe and other regions which are largely neglected by Europe's elite. Examples of this include Lindelof from Sweden, Markovic from Serbia and Oblak from Slovenia, selling them for a combined €77 million. Partner this with a knack for picking up players who've slipped through the net at big clubs like Nemanja Matic from Chelsea, who they actually sold back to the club at a £16 million profit, and you have a winning formula. And the club don't appear to be stopping anytime soon either, gambling on acquisitions from the Czech and Croat top flights this season, as well as acquiring youngsters such as Chris Willock from Arsenal on a free. For now, Benfica's bank balance will remain green and their trophy cabinet full. 3. Southampton. After Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain chose to go to Liverpool over Chelsea in the summer of 2017, the irony that he played for Southampton was not lost on a lot of football fans. This is because in the modern Premier League era, Southampton have become the Reds' de facto feeder club, selling them the likes of Dejan Lovren, Adam Lallana, Nathaniel Klein, Sadio Mane and Ricky Lambert. The price tags, however, are no laughing matter, as the money men at Liverpool have had to shell out over £105 million on players Southampton acquired for little over 20. During this time, Southampton have also gone through high-caliber managers such as Mauricio Pochettino and Ronald Koeman, who now manage at Tottenham and Everton respectively. So not only are they churning out the players, they're also a great platform for ambitious young managers. In the summer of 17-18, Everton spent nearly £200 million in a bid to crack the top 7, something you won't find the Saints doing anytime soon. For now, the club's hierarchy seems to be very comfortable with where the club sits in the Premier League, and with promising youngsters like Jack Stevens, Harrison Reed and much sought after stars like Virgil van Dijk, the future looks bright. 2. Porto. Another club who managed to remain competitive despite offloading their best talent year in, year out is Portuguese giants FC Porto. By and large, this is down to a combination of savvy business acumen, relaxed work permit laws, a keen eye for domestic talent, and a series of excellent managers. One of these managers, Jose Mourinho, who won the Champions League with the Dragons in 2004, took 2 players with him to Chelsea for huge sums at that time. Ricardo Carvalho, the jewel in his defensive backline, was purchased for £27 million, and right-back Paulo Ferreira joined his countrymen for a further 18, a 100% increase on the fee Porto paid Vitória Setúbal, and since then, business has boomed. In more modern times, exports include former frontmen Falcao, Hulk and Jackson Martinez, utility men Danilo and Fernando, and defenders Mangala and Mbula, all raising the princely sum of £164 million, and that's just scratching the surface. And the impressive knack of replacing outgoing stars with those of tomorrow has seen them remain competitive on all fronts. When they sold the aforementioned Carvalho, they replaced him with Pepe. Then when he left for Real Madrid, Bruno Alves came in, with Otamendi eventually replacing him. An impressive lineage, and that's just in one position. Despite this, the club remain in debt, which is why fans of FC Porto and dissidents of chairman Jorge Nuno de Lima Pinta da Costa, that revolving door is going to keep on turning. 1. Monaco. Monaco are unique to our list as they are both high rollers and deft exporters of talent in the modern day market. They have used their chairman's riches to sign Radamel Falcao, João Moutinho and James Rodriguez for astronomical sums, and their extensive scouting network to sign prodigious talents such as Tamar Lamar and Anthony Martial for pittance. Basically, the Principality are having their cake and eating it. C'est magnifique. And this golden generation they're experiencing under Leonardo Jardim is no mistake. The club's new buy low, sell high policy means there's more emphasis on unearthing gems, which is why they pump £8 million per year into their award-winning academy. Their scouting network is also unrivaled in France, where they have 6 talent spotters in Paris alone, more than any other club, helping them secure the likes of Kylian Mbappe. Now, after their first league title in 17 years and a stunning run to the Champions League semi-final, the big boys of European football have picked away at the club's talent like starving vultures. However, Monaco are no pushovers, selling Benjamin Mendy, Timu Bakayoko and Bernardo Silva for a combined £130 million alone. In 2017, the club bought Belgian second division club Cercle Bruges and immediately sent 7 of their hottest prospects there to develop. Now, Monaco might be a selling club, but they've made it into a fine art. So there are our top 10 selling club guys. Have we missed anyone out? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, go and check out last week's Stat Wars and Football Mundial. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.